So we are talking Dwelling. Every time I think they can't come up with any more of these little one-word horror titles that sound kind of spooky, no, there's another one. So we are talking about Dwelling, directed and written by Kyle Mecha. The story here is a somewhat convoluted, so just bear with me. It focuses on this couple who have taken in the daughter of the woman's sister. So their niece, basically, and the two adult sisters had a kind of traumatic time in their childhood where something supernatural happened and basically killed their mother. One of the sisters who's got the baby ended up in a mental institution, whilst this other one is kind of determined to try and find out what had happened and try and contact the other side. So her kind of, I'm assuming, husband decide they're going to buy a haunted house. Although I'm not sure the husband is aware of that. Anyway, they buy this haunted house and they're looking after their niece, who is basically some kind of like is psychically attuned essentially to see ghosts and stuff, like her mother who's in the institution. And of course there's this black mirror, this mirror that's painted black, and this is a doorway to the other side essentially, and ghostly things start to happen. So let's talk Dwelling. A very convoluted setup, I have to say. It's not immediately apparent the kind of the status quo of all the characters, I've got to say, but somewhat interesting in regards to maybe its originality and its kind of set up at the same time. So it's not terrible in regards to that. This movie has possibly one of the most unlikable lead protagonists I've ever seen in a film. The female lead in this film is so selfish and so self-centered, you will want her to die. Everything that she does in this movie puts her family in danger and is purely driven by selfish reasons. And the partner actually pulls her up on it at one point, but the movie then sort of glosses over it towards the end. But man, this is one unlikable character. I mean, the acting isn't bad, so I'm not saying that the acting is bad, but the way the character is written, you want her to see her, meet her in, I'm telling you. Again, it makes it for maybe a somewhat of a different spin on the kind of the horror, the cliches that you've got from characters, but you don't root for this character. But who you do root for is the husband, who is basically this really good guy who is trying to support his wife and trying to support this niece, and has a really great relationship. And I really like the scenes with him in it, basically, because he just comes across as a really good, solid guy. You want to see him not get harmed and stuff like that. So that was very good. So in a way, I kind of like maybe the mixing and the matching of these kind of characters that we may not have seen in kind of typical kind of horror films. And that was actually fairly good, although I do have some problems because I think you're supposed to care about this woman and you don't. The actual haunting stuff, again, I just found a little bit confusing about what was going on. Is this stuff related directly to her past, or is it just completely unrelated in regard to a kind of a separate haunting? The actual ghostly stuff themselves, some fairly decent effects here. And it does have a few sort of creepy moments, and I did quite like the imagery. And the sister who's in this kind of mental asylum, I think does actually a pretty good performance as well, as kind of giving this kind of cracked up performance. And she's, her scenes are all quite interesting, and she's clearly got something going on. She's always wearing these headphones and stuff to try and keep out the spirit kind of white noise and stuff. So all that was good. I've got to say though, I just found this movie a little convoluted and a little bit confusing about what was going on. And I said you don't really care too much about the protagonists here. So I did feel, although it has some good ideas, it's a little bit of a jumbled mess at the same time. So should you watch this film if you like haunted house films? I would say you can kind of do a lot worse than this film. I would say it's worth your time, but it's one you have to kind of maybe watch a couple of times to really completely get it, or at least really kind of concentrate on the actual storyline. I always think when I watch these type of films, it makes sense to the filmmaker who has clearly like written the movie. It obviously makes sense to him, but I feel some filmmakers need to kind of get an outside opinion about, does this stuff kind of make sense? Does it appeal to wider audiences, or is it just confusing? I mean, I watch a lot of horror films and I still found this one kind of convoluted. Overall, it's certainly not bad. I'll give it an average score of 5 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me comments and I'll look forward to you next time. Bye for now.